Okay, good evening, one and all who are present here for this evening. This is a short webinar on an introduction for airbag folding and simulation. And we will be looking into the airbag folding and simulation in general perspective. And at the end, we will also discuss about why Ls Dyna is used in most cases as a software to handle these in FEA. So I promise that this session would be useful and informative, and I would like to take it in like five parts pattern. So initially we will have a introduction on automotive safety in general and their importance. So first few slides will be discussing on that, and then we slowly move into how the industry trends are for the airbag, and then we will move on to the second session of airbag parts and types of airbags. So what are the parts associated with the airbag as a system level, and then a component level also will be discussing in the parts section. And then what are the types of airbag, and what types of airbag in the sense what are the developments in the current, and we will also discuss few which is not in field but which is currently in development also. So the next part, the third part, would be about the airbag folding. So airbag folding we will discuss specifically on two types, which is a normal folding before an FEA simulation is conducted, and then there will be a folding which is based on simulation. So that we can call it as like this folding type is where it is similar to a real-time folding, where we'll have a tools and setup for the folding process before the actual deployment behavior test and all. So the next part, the fourth part, would be the airbag testing and simulation area. So here I would like to touch upon what are types of testing we do for an airbag simulation, and what are the types of testing we do on field for the ratings of the car safety. So then we will also discuss about the simulation available in Ls Dyna, and then we will also discuss on what are the reasons that we choose Ls Dyna as a solver to like just study the behavior of airbag and then the folding of an airbag. So at last, we'll also look into a short, crisp, new and an overview of the opportunities if you like learn this LS Dyna for the folding and simulation of an airbag. Then now we'll move on to the first part. So automotive safety as a whole came into a picture when the IC engine development got bigger and bigger and every day, and then more technologies came in and the car was very fast. The vehicles started moving faster, so more faster the car, so more it is prone for an accident. So that is that was a meeting point where the safety systems need, and it was a big discussion. Next, this airbag and other safety system is actually raising the safety standards of all OEMs around the world. So all over the world there is a drive towards the push of increase in safety system inside a vehicle, because the other system which is assisting a driver is also being developed in par with these passive systems. A major milestone in automotive safety is where when the US first announced that there is a mandatory FMVSS rule that made the frontal airbag compulsory. So this is the currently one of the compulsory like regulations which is available in North America, but wherein the other continents are also pushing for this, and we can expect something in future also. You would have recently seen in news that the Indian cars were having zero ratings in NCAP, and then there were a push for the industry to increase the standards of the car by adding the airbags in base level variants also. And if you remember, there was once an ad from Hyundai that stating that there's 5-star rating for Santro was one of the driving factor for their sales volume. So it's been like a give and take for the OEMs that they are investing on the safety parameters, which will boost their sales also. So it's big. It's like both a win-win situation both for the OEM and the consumer for this push. So next we will discuss briefly on what are the types of safety system. So safety systems can be both active and passive. So active systems are nothing but which will help the driver that will avoid the event of crash. Let's say uh, before a crash happens, so these systems will be actively ready to avoid the to assist the driver in avoiding the crash. So something like general things like brakes, lighting, and then complicated things which is developed recently and then implemented into the cars. Most of the cars nowadays is the ABS, and nowadays ABS is being clubbed with EBD, EPA. So more and more active systems are coming in. But these active systems are not mandatory at all levels. But as the market evolves, as the customer demand increase, so these are also becoming basic safety parameters even in the baseline variants. So next is the passive section. Passive section is nothing but it is also a readily available safety system, but it is not involved directly when the system when the car is or the vehicle is moving. So the driver will not be having an interaction with the system while he is driving the vehicle, but it will have its effect once the crash has occurred. So the crash can happen in milliseconds, so the response system have also is also to be equally in milliseconds, so that it can save the life or precious life of the driver and the passenger. So main examples come in like seat belts. Seat belts are nowadays become more on part and parcel of an vehicle which is coming on road. So airbag is something like a supplement to the seat belt. So without a seat belt, airbag is not going to help you out. So if you're driving, so this is one of an important factor to be educated in new markets like India, Asia, that most of them with airbag don't wear seatbelt. So seatbelt is also an important factor. So airbag will assist you in saving your life only when the seatbelt is on. So other things like the crumple zones are readily available in the structure to take the initial force from the impact when the impact occurs. And then there are other systems like collapsible steering wheel which is associated with the driver airbag. So there are many passive features also. So now our airbag, what we are going to discuss today, it will be coming under the passive safety systems. So next part, this is the final of the first session. So industry trends. So I would like to catch up on what an industry trend would be uh, in the airbag as a whole. So safety awareness has been increased all over the world, and this is also this directly proportional to the increasing awareness of rise in airbag needs. So next would be you can see here if I'm able to. So I think you can see my cursor. So this implicates what are the demand increase in demand for the airbag as a curtains front knee airbag. So this is the expected prediction that it would rise evenly throughout for the next 20 years maybe. So this is not only for the frontal airbags like driver and passenger. It is also equally important that the side crash, which is like a major effect, which gives a major effect. Even though there is a front driver and passenger airbag, there are many chances that a side rollover could be fatal. So the importance for the side airbags is also increasing side by side. And then you can see here that there is almost 5.5% annual compounded growth rate for the side airbags such as the curtain airbags too. And coming to the Indian perspective, so because we like major OEMs in India are also developing and they're focusing on airbag nowadays. Yeah, so here we are talking about the Indian perspective. So last year there was a proposal for the safety regulations in India, automotive safety on road cars. So you can see here clearly that for the M1 category, respective of the following, they are going to make it mandatory. That this is just a draft which was proposed last November, but soon there will be a compulsory driver airbag and co-driver airbag rule in India also. So you can see there is a demand increase in airbags all around the world, and specifically for Asia Pacific region there is increasing demand because the cars are the volume sales volume is increasing day by day, and then the demand for the safety is also like increasing proportionately. And then coming back to the expansion area, so expansion area in the sense not only for four wheelers, this airbag is also being developed on par for the two motorcycle regions also. So you can see there is an expected projection for about 3500 like 1000 units for next year, I mean this upcoming year. And then it's being driven by all performance related motor vehicles. So motorcycles which is performance based vehicles are being clubbed with the safety features of full body airbag protection. So it will be like most of these motorcycle airbag will be reusable, but still these are also in development, and then you have a scope there also. So it's about the airbag, the parts and the types. So let's see. So there are several parts inside an airbag. So why actually do we need a passive safety for an airbag is it is going to be a future where it will be a compulsory say passive feature. And we need to know what are the types and what are the parts of an airbag to be aware of before into going to folding or simulation, to be aware of what will be the environment of an airbag during an explosion. So that is what we have to look into it. And then you can see the first point is airbag fabric. So airbag fabric is nothing but generally a key function of an airbag is to absorb the heavy impact which comes from the crash, and then it has to support the passenger and the driver during a crash. So nylon is having the best capability to absorb that energy, and apart from that it has both the strength and the elongation. And the generally used nylon is 66, which is a polyamide. And there are more research into this material. We will look into the what are the types of test which is being done for a material in the next upcoming slides also. So next part is the inflator. Inflator is nothing but the pyrotechnic which is being used to inflate the gas into an airbag. So without this system, you will not be able to put in the gas into an airbag and supporting the crash explosion. So inflators are nowadays becoming more of a hybrid, like we have both pyrotechnic and some gas pellets inside that. So understanding of a folding, you can understand this as nothing but this is a area where the inflation starts from. So when you do a simulation, so you will have to keep in mind that a part of this inflator is going to affect the kinematics of the airbag when it is going to get deployed. So gas diffuser is the next part which is associated with the inflator. So gas diffuser are generally mostly in plastic, but sometimes a fabric is also used as a gas diffuser. So gas diffuser nothing but they'll be guiding the gasway to which part of the airbag to be filled first, so that it will help in a better position of an airbag in assisting the passenger. So the next would be tapes. Tapes are nothing but these tapes are generally different from the regular tapes which we use. So these are uh, these are tapes around the airbag just to keep the folding intact, but it will be very light that it will break away with the force of this explosion. And then there is a wrapper which is being used in side airbags, wherein if you can see inside a seat there will be a fabric around it. So if it is a seat airbag, so let's say if it's a seat side airbag, I would like to show you. So let's say this is a side way of a seat. So when you have airbag here which is being kept here, so the outer layer is also fabric, the inner layer is also going to be a fabric. So when the outer layer is fabric, and here you don't have an housing, so you anyways the folding has to be intact. So this region you cannot use a plastic houser. So what you do is you generally use a fabric housing, and that is what we called as the wrap here. And then generally we have vents for an airbag, because once inflated it is equally important that we have to make sure the airbag is deflated in milliseconds too, because an inflated airbag can also be dangerous when it is delayed deflating. So it means that all airbags when inflating it will be equally deflating. So there will be a mass in and mass out. So the mass out ratio would be comparatively lesser than the mass in. So It is where the whole equation is working. So then there are tethers. Tethers is nothing but there are like small stitches inside a side airbag. These stitches will hold both the front and back region of an airbag, so that you get an inflated portion, wherein that inflated portion is not so huge that it will hit on it will suffocate you. So these are calculations based on that. There are calculations based on which the tethers has to be stitched. And there is something called a seam. Seam is nothing but a region. So these airbags have to be stitched in order, the top layer and the bottom layer have to be stitched in certain way. So when you go for a stitching, there is a possibility of a fabric leakage. So whenever you stitch something, so whenever there is a thread going inside, so you are actually creating a hole. So there is a, it's also a weakness area. So the region around it, there'll be a mass flow, like a considerably low, but it has to be considered when you design an airbag. So that region is called a seam region. And of course there'll be like a cover and housing for airbags, which is used in steering wheel, like driver airbag, and then on the dashboard of passenger airbag, so and so, and maybe the pillar airbags or maybe an airbag. So on a whole, these are the major parts of an airbag. There are several other parts which are like associated with the airbag, like the sensors and the electrical stuff, but which is slightly away from what we are currently looking into. So I didn't add those parts. So these parts, what I'm mentioning here, are more important for you to know before you go for a folding and simulation. So the next part would be a types of airbag. So what are the types of airbag currently available in the market in general? So what I'm going to show you now is not like the complete set of types of airbag, because there are several airbag types which is being developed day by day. But we will discuss which are being more usually used mostly in all the OEMs. We can say we will cover almost 95% of the airbags being used. So the major airbag or the frontal airbag. So frontal airbags, when you talk about frontal airbags, it's both the driver and the passenger. So the driver airbag, what you see is actually incorporated inside a steering wheel. So you will have a steering wheel house cover. You would have seen that it's written as SRS airbag, so supplement retain system. So that area is where the airbag is being housed. And this is where a driver airbag typically has a volume of around like 60 liters, you can say. So it's located in the steering wheel region. So this is how an driver airbag looks, and these you can see is also internal stitches. Is this could be the X tethers also. It depends on the type of folding or type of airbag it is. And this is the passenger side airbag. So is one of the in the frontal region, this is the biggest airbag, I would say, because it will be covering most of the passenger frontal portion. So it is housed into the IP or the dashboard of a car. Nowadays, you can see, I think in during 2005 or 2000 to 2005, those times we had a separate cover which will be engraved into the IP. So it will be a separate part. But nowadays, what we are getting is a seamless airbag. So at the particular IP region, you can see this IP region, there will be a weaker section inside. So it is designed so that the weaker section will tear off, assisting the airbag to come out. So it's those parts are getting like clubbed, and due to cost effective and the aesthetic feature that is being developed in power. So this passenger airbag roughly would be around 120 to 150 liters. So the next would be the curtain or the side airbag. So you can see here, this is what a side airbag typically looks like. You can see this portion is being stitched, and the seam region is nothing but a region which is covering this area. And these various designs are done so that these stitches are done so that we need a bulge area here and bulge area here, so that the passenger behind is being saved. So this is where the head will come and hit, and then mitigation test, everything will be done based on that. So this is what we call as curtain airbag. We call it a curtain airbag because it rolls down from the top like a curtain. So that's what is also called as a curtain airbag. And one important feature of curtain airbag is you never see a vent in a curtain airbag. So curtain airbag would not suffocate you during a crash, whereas a driver or a passenger airbag would suffocate you So that's why we have vents there, but you generally don't have a vent in side airbag. And then the next part is knee airbag, which is you can say it is a premium feature, a premium featured airbag, which is available in cars, maybe more than 15 lakhs if I say it in Indian rupees. So this is like an extended airbag feature. So this will be below the dashboard, so it will be pushed from inside of the dashboard. So it's something like a balloon wherein you from the top, if you push it down, so from the bottom it will rise up. So something like that is this concept of a knee airbag. So it's equally important in saving your leg region. And then this is what I was discussing on, is called the side airbag, which is inside the seats. It is kept inside a seat using the wrapper cover and all. So this side airbag is assisting you to make sure that you don't get hit on the side panels or to the passenger to the left or the right of the driver. So the next would be the far side airbag. So far side airbag is being in current development, and some cars are implemented this too. It will help you when you are slightly out of position. So slightly out of position, when in the sense you are not in an exact position wherein you will be saved from the crash. So what it happens is there will be a sudden crash, and then there is a possibility that you will go to a sideways and come back. So this will help in protecting both your head region and the torso region. So far side airbag is like you can say it's an advanced type of a side airbag. So I think we have completed the second portion